inferred. They did a little annotator study on 30 texts and found that the annotators agreed at a level of 83%. So that's kind of a theoretical best that you can expect your system to do, kind of measuring how concrete the task is. I won't really step through these quotes, but essentially what they say is that the MUX have been very influential, been the primary driving force of research and information extraction, and in fact are the natural language understanding-ish evaluation that by far we have the most experience with, 11 years worth. So these tasks and metrics have been hashed over many times. I want to make a note about the state of the technology. So I've discussed the task and the evaluation. Now, what do these systems look like? Well, like other fields, or I should say applications within language processing, went through this phase where we started off where essentially, when the task was introduced, what everybody did was take their general natural language understanding systems that they had built, that did general parsing and domain-independent semantics and discourse processing into some kind of general meaning representation, and they glommed an extraction engine on the end. And those systems didn't perform very well. Essentially what would happen is by the time you went through all these complex forms of linguistic processing, somewhere along the way you would have made a mistake that made it so that you didn't extract the right piece of information. And in some cases, the information would be like right in front of you. John Doe was named president of Apple. There it is. And somewhere along the line you would misparse it or something and lose it. So what people then did is kind of took an approach that was drew a straighter line between point A and point B, taking a shallower type of approach. One of the first such systems to do this was developed at SRI a few years before my time there, called FASTIS, which has mainly two main modules. A series of pattern recognizers that incrementally does a sentence-by-sentence analysis, pulling out relevant pieces of information. So I've dummied up a little fake passage here. John Smith was named president of ABC Corp. He replaces Mike Jones. So the template structure that we output for MUC is too complicated to work with system internally for a number of reasons. So we defined a much simpler version where we have what we call a transition that essentially says, with respect to a job at a company, who left and who's coming in. So from this sentence, we would generate a representation that John Smith became president of ABC Corp. And in fact, we'll hypothesize that somebody's in fact leaving that position, but we don't know